So the other thing is, and I forgot to say in the video just before this one, is that I think the winds of change are also going to have an impact on William. I think what I am hearing in the wind is that William is also in trouble, obviously, right? Because if Queen Camilla has an agenda that involves putting her family at the center of the monarchy, then obviously it's going to mean that she will have to nudge William and Kate from the spotlight. And someone commented in my last video, I haven't confirmed it, that there are apparently these polls that are saying that Camilla and Charles have surpassed William and Kate in popularity. So this is the battle that is going to be the bloodbath in the House of Windsor, because as bad as it was for Harry and Meghan, William and Kate are going to fight back against Camilla. They're going to have to. They're going to have to defend their turf, and their turf. What is their turf? I mean, it's not their turf until Charles dies, right? So Charles is 74 years old. I mean, he easily could do another 20 years. A lot can change in 20 years. He can um he can on, he could edit the letters patent a few times in 12 years to make it so that William is not the next monarch of England. Quite simplement, okay? Or, I mean, well, not just with the letters patent, he'd have to go through the parliament as well. But I don't think that's a big problem, because they went through the parliament for other things and got what they wanted, like with the snap of a finger. So it's just a question of their alliances and who they align themselves with in the parliament, and they will have what they want. So William, um, the first real, I say, heavily negative press about William comes from some new book that claims that William left King Charles shaken after an argument. Where did this writer get that from? Where did this writer get that from? Did he get it from Prince Harry? I doubt it, right? Harry did write in his book about his brother's temper. And, look, I'm not beating up on William for having a temper. I have a temper, okay? I have a temper, and it's awful. It's really, really bad. And so I understand tempers. It's a weakness. It's definitely a weakness, but I understand that, people have tempers. And so it's not that I'm beating up on William because he has a temper, but the fact that he does have a temper is something that I think weakens him as a future monarch, like in Harry's book, where Harry spoke about William literally throwing him onto a dog bowl because he became so incensed about something having to do with Harry's wife, Meghan. That's very telling. And then William never speaking to Harry again because Harry told everybody that my brother threw me on a dog bowl. I mean, my position with that is, okay, if you don't want your brother to say that you threw him on a dog bowl, don't throw him on a dog bowl, okay? Or okay, if you throw him on the dog bowl, you apologize and you make sure that you keep your relationship with your brother right, because then he writes a book and now you're angry. Okay, but that he's the least of your problems, William. It's really going to be your father and and not Catherine, and your father and Camilla, because I mean, I don't know who told this author that King Charles was shaken, but who knows that King Charles was shaken, right? This is the question. For sure, if King Charles was shaken, King Charles knows that he was shaken. He's the first one. He was shaken. Who else would know that King Charles was shaken? His wife would know that he was shaken, because it is natural that a husband will tell a wife, my son just did this or said that, and it left me shaken. Okay. Who else would know that King Charles was shaken? I mean, other people may know, if either one of these two or three or two people, because William wouldn't necessarily know that he left his dad shaken. He may only know that he yelled and screamed and ranted at his dad. And then his dad afterwards became shaken. By that time, William probably had left. He has no idea that his dad was shaken, but his wife knows that he's shaken. So these two people are in the group of possible snitchers, pretty much, who would tell an author, a third party, that William left him shaken. Why would they do that? That's just as bad, if not worse, than Harry admitting to everyone in his book Spare that William threw him onto a dog bowl. Because it's worse because, you know, this is not a sibling rivalry kind of thing. This is a father who, it's different. It's a different relationship. Why is he disclosing this about William to an author who's just going to now confirm something that Harry said in his book, for which they all stopped talking to Harry? The hypocrisy of the thing is a whole other problem too, right? Because these people are selectively, outraged. But look, I don't think anybody should leave their father shaken. I mean, if I've ever left my father shaken, I'm really sorry. My father leaves me shaken because he has such a loud voice, right? But so I can't yell at him enough to leave him shaken. But maybe I could say something, even in a soft voice, that cuts so deep that he's shaken. I mean, I don't know, right? My dad and I, we have epic rows. We have epic rows. But he does all the yelling. And yes, maybe I'm shaken. But, I get my punches in there in different ways. But the thing is, the thing is that I don't think my father could really ever say, I mean, I'm a girl anyway, it doesn't matter. But William leaving the King of England shaken, I think, is a whole different thing. I'm not judging you, William. I'm not judging you. You're not my favorite in the soap opera. You're not my favorite character. I'm not rooting for you the way I'm rooting for Harry. I'm going to be very, very honest, okay? But at the same time, I hope I mean, what do I hope? I mean, I hope the right thing happens, really, because in the end, the way you just threw Harry to the curb or kicked him to the curb just because of who he married, what a lovely girl he married. His wife is so wonderful. She has such a beautiful handwriting. She's a feminist. She cares about other people. She's a stylist. She's so intelligent, so well spoken. I mean, your own wife emulates her quite often. So it means that there's some value there. There's something to emulate. And you were so anti-Meghan that you to this day can't find your brotherly love for your brother. You know what your brother said in a book that I know will come back one day to bear, is he said that when you were children and you were having your play fights with other children, and somebody would attack you or overpower you in some way, he would literally get the red mist. He would become crazy. It's like, don't touch my brother. Okay? This is powerful stuff. And you know what? That same man who was once a child, who's your brother, may one day have to come back to your defense in that way. And he will. Why? Because it's an instinct. He can't help it, right? He sees a red mist when people mess with you. But you don't see a red mist when people mess with him. And this is a big problem, William. This is a big problem because of all the people in the world, you should have stuck with your brother. Because you don't know what the future holds, and you're going to need your brother. And you and your brother and your two wives could have been so interesting in England. And now what you have done, you and your wife, with your petty jealousies, is create a void that is so big that now Camilla is going to fill that void with her gorgeous, beautiful, interesting, media darling grandchildren and children, because you guys need, the monarchy needs something. Buckingham Palace needs youth and vigor just running around it and chanting the people. And you and Kate are not enough. As a matter of fact, you and Kate are a little bit, quite frankly, with all due respect and love, you're a little bit, you know, boring, okay? You're boring. You're not, you know, you're not dynamic. Boring, look, boring is good. Boring is good. Boring lasts longer a lot of times. A lot of fascination and fire can implode, which is something I talk to Megan and Harry about all the time. Be very careful. Don't be so fascinating all the time like this. It overheats. So I'm not saying that you're a bad person because you're boring, but you are boring, okay? But I digress, right? This is about the fact that I don't even remember what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Camilla, and I'm talking about the fact that it is you more than anybody else who has so much to lose once Camilla becomes queen.